This is the All Things Nerd Podcast, Season 3, Episode 36. On tonight's cast, we're going to talk about another podcast. The Office is getting its own podcast. Yes, the NBC favorite TV show that's leaving Netflix is getting its own podcast. We're also going to be talking about Supernatural's final season and what we know so far from the first look that we got from Entertainment Weekly. As well as Stephen King's The Stand starts getting some cast for the new miniseries appearing on CBS All Access, and much more. So, sit back, enjoy the show, and here's the intro. Hello to all the Geek Enthusiasts and Nerd Aficionados. Welcome back for the All Things Nerd Podcast. I am Mess5150, your host to talk to you about geek, nerd, and pop culture. Thank you for joining us for another cast. On the cast, I also have some other fan favorites, Geek Enthusiasts and Nerd Aficionados, to talk about all that stuff with you as well. First and foremost, wearing the all-white from head to toe, we have Aaron on the cast. How are you, sir?
Fabulous. How are you, buddy?
You gotta, you can't be flexing those guns because, quite frankly, I didn't see anything going on there, buddy. So let's keep that down to the regular, please. Weird.
All right.
Those look like Nerf blasters.
Apparently, they completely screwed with my connection. So I'm doing fantastic. How about you guys?
I'm great. I'm explaining why we have our stuff of where to follow because people don't pay attention to what we're saying sometimes.
They pay attention to the good stuff. That's what's important.
Well, there's three types of learning. There's kinetic, there's audio, and there's visual. Some visual learners need to see stuff to be able to know where to go and follow us. Other people need to hear it. And
can we
skip
kinetic, the educational piece tonight? Because it's making my head hurt already.
For the kinetic,
come on.
I don't know if you can touch the stuff that's on the screen, but hey, try it. See if it helps you learn where to go and follow us.
Next week, All Nerd Podcast in 3D.
Oh, God.
Also showing
or Smellorama.
Also joining us, I'm putting that into process now. Poop, poop, come back, and we'll get the smell-o-vision for you. Also joining us on the cast, we have Masonic Vader. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. My head hurts. Let's get this thing going. Speaking education stuff here.
And lastly, but we saved the best for last, we have Super Hoovian Freak on the cast. How are you?
Good. A little tired, but good.
Best for last? I am obviously the best sibling in this relationship. Come on now.
With your Nerf blasters for guns there? Yeah, good job, dude.
I know you didn't.
I did. I totally did.
We always like to start this show out with what we've been geeking out on. That's the things that we've been doing to tickle our nerdy fancy, and whether you should be checking them out as well or stay far, far away. So here's Get Your Geek On.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I'm gonna be 2 seconds on my geek out because it's the same as it's been for the last month. It's still Arrowverse. I started a whole new season of all the shows, and I'm on season 3 of Supergirl. Meh on the start. I'm on season 4 of Legends of Tomorrow. Meh on the start. Although I did like the joke about Victor Garber not wanting to go on the Titanic because somebody should that it was a terrible ship and whoever designed that ship should be shot, which he played the designer of the ship on the Titanic movie. And yeah, Flash is pretty good, and Arrow's I'm liking it so far. So I'm only a season behind on all the shows, I think. Yeah, because then the next season I'll be fully caught. Yeah, so 2 seasons total of stuff to watch. I'm gonna get it done, and that will have been binge watching Supernatural and the entire Arrowverse in the same year. So, what do you got on binge watching skills now? Huh? What do you got?
That's a lot.
A life. That's what I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's a lot.
And the other stuff that I geek out on is podcasts for fantasy football. So yeah, I won 2 out of 3 leagues so far.
You're podcasting fantasy football now too?
No, I listen to 3 different podcasts for fantasy football. So on a daily basis.
So how's that couch? Is it comfortable? You have a comfortable couch there? Yeah.
I listen to it on my phone as I go to work and stuff and drive and everything.
Oh,
So
okay. Gotcha, sure.
I'm about to say,
but...
I can vouch. His couch is very comfortable.
So, and Red Meat Pasta says that she is watching all 8 seasons of Perry Mason and all 9 seasons of Forensic Files. So yeah, that's a lot too.
Get off the Perry Mason. You've watched enough Perry Mason.
Now, are we talking black and white Perry Mason? Because if you're talking black and white Perry Mason, much respect.
She
much
says
respect.
all 8 seasons. So, well, no, okay. So black and white would be the show, and then the movies were the color. So then you
they did reboot the show when as he was getting older, but the original series was black and white, and then they brought it back in the 80s. I think.
No, wait, no, that's.
And yes, it is the black and white. Yes, much respect.
Okay, what have you been geeking out on, Aaron?
Oh man, so I wasn't really geeking out on anything until I watched the trailers, because I normally stay away from trailers unless I'm really excited about something. I watched the Supernatural trailers tonight for the first time, and for the love of God. They're really doing this this final season some respect, and I love that.
Talk about later.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
Topic later.
I know, but
we're not talking about the trailers. I mean,
I'm not going to reveal anything. I'm not talking about anything. I'm just saying that is what I've been geeking out on for the past 7 hours or so.
Well, hey, at least they didn't reveal what happens to their characters like Arrow did, bastards.
No, they didn't, and that's a really good thing. Because we'll say what is honestly for the actual talk about Supernatural. So
yeah, and I won't say what if you haven't seen or heard the reveal of what happens last season at Arrow. We will stay far away from that since it hasn't aired yet, and I don't want to give spoilers to anybody and get pissed off. So
that's okay. I don't care.
Yeah. Still. What about you, Masonic Vader? What have you been geeking out on?
Oh, it's been a light geek week here, man. I'm still kind of getting this kill team stuff going. I'm working with my so I got the kill team starter box a couple weeks ago. Now I have painting skills from back in the day. I used to make models and everything, but I guess about 30 years of age and playing football for so many years, my model skills are so yeah, I'm going to be going to these games. You know, I got a practice session this weekend because I've never played this game. I'm going to go there with my little force, and they're going to look like a third grader painted them. And that's even being nice because it's probably going down as kindergarten. In fact, I should just let my kid do it already. He's probably got better skills than I do.
So we got to get you the snap lock models with the finger paints, and you'll be all good.
Dude, finger paints I think would be too rough for me at this point, man. Like seriously, I even like exact. So I tell my kid, hey, anytime you're dealing with stuff like an exact knife, take it easy. Oh, you see that bad boy? Almost took off half my knuckle. Trying to put one of those damn things together.
Nice work.
He is not flipping off the camera. He's just showing us the cut on his
You know that was the middle finger. I'm just showing a finger.
He's like to all the people watching. Here, look at my cut.
Yeah, check it out. War damage. Yes.
And everybody that has it on mute is
though,
like, why is this dude flipping me off?
Getting off that podcast. I'm kicking his ass. What? Other than that, no, it's been pretty light here. The geeking stuff going on. I'm pretty chill. And
Red Meat Paw also says Carnival Row is so amazing, and I don't know if that's just because of the visuals of Orlando Bloom or if the show itself is amazing. So,
from what I hear, the show itself is amazing. So it's worth checking out.
Nice. What about you, Super? What have you been geeking out on?
I just finished the most recent season of The Good Place. So season 3, finished it. And now I'm all ready for season 4, which I think is the last one.
The last one.
So, yeah. Really good. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's hilarious.
And Red Meat Paw follows up with, not a fan of Orlando. So, I guess
No,
the show's
she.
just good. Yeah. So, or is she talking
I
about
don't know what
Florida?
she's
Because
seen
Florida
in.
Man is always a crazy. I'm not a fan of Florida
Well,
Man either.
Florida man is bananas. He's off his hinges. So
Okay. Do you guys have anything that people should stay far away from that you saw this week, or read, or? Okay.
not yet.
Yeah, we're
Not
here.
yet.
We're here to do a good service. Whenever we see something that we don't like, that we don't think other people should check out and waste your time with, we'll let you know. So,
You know what? I just remembered one that's kind of geeking out about. If you give me a sec.
Yeah.
Fallout 76 in its attempt to regain its customers have added some more gameplay to the game this week. They added another map to their what they call Nuclear Winter, which is the Battle Royale, which is actually a pretty cool map. And they've added some extra stuff to put in the in what you call your camp. They're doing a good job of excuse me, trying to win back those fans by trying to interject a bunch of stuff. I've been playing it a little bit as much as I can. But like I said, that Nuclear Winter, that second map is pretty good. So if you've played Fallout 76 before and you walked away from it like I did, now's a good time to spend about 2 hours worth to update, start playing the game, and you'll be sound as a pound.
we also want to welcome Polyfuse and Electrical Longboard, as well as I already said Windsock. So, thank you guys for coming and checking us out. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes because it's a lot of stuff to talk about today. So it's time for the nerd news. First and foremost, not to get too meta, but here on a podcast, we're going to talk about a podcast. Wow. Yeah. So.
Oh, son.
The Office. What do you guys, fans? Not fans?
I never saw all of it, but I liked what I saw. Very
much
dry
I love
humor.
How much of it did you watch, probably? Would you say?
Probably about maybe 3.5 seasons worth, all
Okay.
scattered amongst the 9 seasons.
Okay, so just scattering. Okay, so yeah, I literally binged The Office earlier this year. Again, just for the heck of it to watch it. And Red Meat Paw says never watched The Office. I love it. I think it's one of my favorite shows, and it's one of the things that has kept Netflix subscribers to Netflix. They said that it's going to be, that's what majority of people watch The Office and Friends on Netflix. So
Yeah.
the interesting news with this is a show that's now been off the air for what, 4 years, 5 years, about
5 now, I think. Yeah.
Mm,
2014, I think that's when they went off.
I can't remember.
And Ruru2 joins us in the chat room saying that never watched The Office. Watch Breaking Bad. I don't know. They said same Breaking Bad. But what we want to talk about is The Office is actually getting its own podcast with Jenna Fischer and Angela Kinsberg.
Kinsey.
Angela Kinsey. Which they are best friends in real life, but they don't play very good friends on the show. Jenna Fischer plays Pam Beasley, and Kinsey played Angela Martin. If you watch the show, you know who they are. If you didn't, then you're going to be like, I don't care. But these
What are we
two,
talking about again? No, I'm just kidding.
these two are getting together, and they're going to talk about the filming of the show and different stories behind the scenes of the episodes, which I'm assuming will mean that you'll get like guests on the cast, big names, because you got Steve Carell and a lot of people that went to be huge from The Office. Polyfuses.
We're losing them.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. So this premieres in October. That's when they start doing this podcast. I'm gonna check it out. What do you guys? Any interest on checking it out? Because I'm gonna go into the further thing with this because I'm really interested.
Yeah, I might check it out. I mean, once again, I'm like Super, where I haven't seen every single episode, and I've seen some scattered ones, and I've seen a lot of the clips that people post in Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that. But I've never never really gone full Office yet. I've kind of watched a little bit of The Office space from London as well. So I mean, I've kind of seen from England from both sides. It's funny, but it's got that niche to it that either hooks you or keeps you and pushes you away, and then you slowly come back to it later, I guess.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron?
I'm going to listen. I don't listen to many podcasts, but I'm a big fan of Jenna Fischer. I love her. And the character that she played, Pam Beasley, was one of my favorites of all time. She's just brilliant. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with this, I think.
I think it'll be pretty good. But what I wanted to get into is now that we see a podcast, because podcasts are everywhere, but now that we see a podcast with cast members from the show that was an iconic show getting its own podcast, are there any other shows that need this, that need cast members to get together and talk about the behind the scenes or the stories or something along those factors?
I will go last because I have a feeling that one of them is going to talk about it, but if they don't, then I want to talk about it.
Okay. What about you, Masonic? Do you have anything that
So me personally, I've got. I was going to try to do decades things here, but I'll just keep it simple. My two favorite shows in the '80s. My show was A-Team. Would love to see the original cast come back and talk about the A-Team.
Is all of the original cast still alive, or is it just Mr. T?
Oh no, I think George Papard's the only one that's passed away. So we got Moser. The other one would be late 80s, but mainly dominated in the 90s, and it's probably one of the greatest comedies shows of all time, and that would be Married with Children. And I would love to see a podcast of that.
I would totally be down for that.
Absolutely. Married with Children was just one of those shows that was during that time where it pushed boundaries. No show was ever like that. It came out when The Simpsons and stuff. And to see everyone that was in that show and where they're at now, and to see all the people that started their career in there's a lot of people that are famous now that just had a side role in there or even a one-time episode. So I would love to have one of those podcasts for that show because you could go a long time with that one.
Most definitely.
That one, I didn't even think about something like that. That would be actually, yeah, I would be totally into that because they're still there. I mean, 3 of the 4 are still relevant with.
Yeah, Bud's more behind the scenes now. I think he's more producing and everything versus actually acting.
He was doing voice acting work because he was doing voice acting for Avatar. Which that was the funniest thing was that I went to the last season. No, it was the new Avatar. It was the second version, the girl Avatar. And we had to sit through the panel for it at Comic-Con because the 10-year anniversary of Firefly was the next panel afterwards. And he comes out for a voice. And I'm like, dude, that's Bud from Married with Children.
Yeah.
So
there's one more that you could do, but it would be, I don't know how well you'd be or how crazy it would be to do it. Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be
because
hard.
That would be hard.
It'd be hard, but imagine if you could pull that off. I mean, you could do it in so many different ways. You can go from casts to hosts. I mean, right now it has a lot of buzz because of the fact that they have Eddie Murphy coming back this year, last week. So imagine if you were able to do a podcast where you talk about some of the craziest times behind the scenes or some of the hosts or anything like that. That would be one that you could go on forever and ever just because of how long it's been around.
Yeah.
So
it could be fun.
I don't know if Michaels would ever allow something like that.
Yeah,
probably
the stories
not.
behind the scenes. But
yeah.
Yeah, we already know enough about the crack.
What about you, Super? What show? I think I have a pretty good idea, but what show would you want to see cast members do?
Already has one. They've got Wayward Sisters. So
that's not the one I was thinking of.
But they've got you talk about behind the scenes. I mean, you get that at every convention. So to have a podcast would just be superfluous at that point. But some that
take it easy with those big words, all right? Don't scare some people off.
I'm sorry. But a show that I love that I'd love to have like a podcast on to really find out what kind of goes on behind the scenes.
Well, just stories of the filming and that's what they're going to be talking about is the different little stories that have never been heard. And what goes on.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that's recent that I would love. You know what? I do love.
No, she already said no.
No, a show I did love personally that I loved watching the commentary tracks on. There were a couple that I bought all the DVDs for. Was How I Met Your Mother and also
That would be a good one.
Psych, because of the interactions of the cast.
Yeah.
I mean, they had some of the best commentary. In fact, on some of the DVDs, I just watched the commentary track on the episode. I don't even watch the episode anymore because they're that funny. So something like that could be really fun and really interesting to tune into.
I'm really
Wait,
surprised that you didn't go with the other biggest comedy of all time in terms of the vein of what The Office is for getting cast members, especially because everybody wants a reunion of them all the time.
Oh, Friends?
Yeah, I'm really surprised you didn't pick Friends. Like, I thought that's where you would have gone.
I think that would be awesome if they did maybe something for the 25th. They'd have to get David Schwimmer on board, though. He's always been the one that's kind of put the wrench in the works.
You can't get the whole cast to do a podcast, but getting a couple of members to tell the stories behind the scenes, I think that would fall in.
I think it'd be awesome.
My two favorite shows, I mean, not shows to watch, but I would love to see behind the scenes, like talking about the creating and the talk of the shows and the episodes and stuff. It probably wouldn't have as much fun with the stories, but who knows? Stuff like what they bring up in the chat room where Ruutu said Leela when you were mentioning, but Futurama, Simpsons, I think would be fun just for the fact that they could go into voices while they're doing them. Talk about, get Matt Groening in there to talk about where they came up with the ideas and stuff like that. So that would be my shows that I would like to see get a podcast. Aaron, since you're last, what was your...
All right. So since I'm last, I have two. First off, I will talk about the one that's not going to tie us in to what we're talking about later. But first off, Family Guy.
Yeah.
Oh my God in heaven, would I like to see what the behind the scenes are like for that show, because I've seen a little bit of it when what's his name, Seth MacFarlane, the creator of the show, does many of the voices. He went on the Graham Norton show, and
just watch Graham Norton.
Yeah, he sang as both Peter and Stewie, two Cyndi Lauper songs, and that was the epitome of meta in my mind, because he went
in front of Cyndi Lauper.
I know, right next to Cyndi Lauper, he sang her songs as two characters from Family Guy, and it was beautiful, just beautiful. So to see a podcast with him and the rest of the people who do the voices for everyone else, Mila Kunis, Patrick Warburton, all of them, to see them talk about what goes on behind the scenes while they're doing the table reads, while they're doing the voices and going back and forth with all their conversation, that would just be beautiful.
Yeah, and that Ruutu brings up they have Family Guy table reads as extras on certain DVD releases, and the stuff is cool. That's why I would love to see podcasts of these things, because it'd be a regular basis of getting these stories and everything. So
exactly, you would get them fresh out of the box, basically. But the real one that I want to talk about is something that we're going to go into in just a couple minutes, and that's Supernatural. Based on I know, right? Everything that they do on the DVD extras and the conventions and the stuff that they talk about, the madness that they get away with while still filming their show, it's legendary.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen any DVD extras or Blu-ray extras or anything that's come close to the madness that they pull while they're filming, and it's amazing. So
the pranks are legendary.
Podcasts come out of them, and to be able to experience on a regular basis the stuff that they pull, the pranks that they pull on set, and to see the just incredible craziness that they go through and they put other people through.
they could literally do a whole like 3-movie series on just the pranks that have been pulled on stars, guest stars, easily. I think their most epic one that they pulled off was back in season 6, because Misha did a movie that he didn't tell anyone about, and it's a terrible movie called Stonehenge Apocalypse. And so he didn't tell anyone he did it. They filmed it in Canada, but then they found it like on a really bad B-movie sci-fi channel.
They did.
And so they recreated a whole set. They made it huge, and they covered it with a tarp. And he comes walking in, and they start playing Stonehenge Apocalypse over the speakers, and they pull it off, and he's just like, he's horrified by the little life figures of him and everything. They said it took days to do, but it was so worth it.
Of course it was. Because that's the type of stuff that they do on that set. And to hear it in a podcast on a regular basis would just be perfect.
They're fun. They are fun personalities, and I think they would have a great podcast. Yeah, like you said, they bring out so much stuff that you can find most of the stuff, but for people that are listening on the podcast,
just want to listen on the road, it would be great.
As Aaron brought up, Supernatural season 15, we got the first look of what's going to happen from Entertainment Weekly, and a nice little video with Jared and Jensen talking about this season. I want to get reactions, but they basically were talking about that it picks up immediately after where the first season left off, and it's all hell hitting the fan. Just based off of what they said, do you guys have any thoughts of where the season's gonna go? I know.
No, I can tell you that it's going to end. How about that? I know there's going to be a beginning and an end.
There was 2 key things that were mentioned in that video. That one has that theory that I kept thinking is going to happen, and it's going to be like the ending is going to be like Neverending Story, where the book closes and that story's over. And Jensen brought up, was it Jensen? Yeah, Jensen brought up that is this just one of the stories that God has been writing, and and I'm like, if they end the season that way, where it's just like, okay, done with this story, let's close the book, the chapter, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's just such a twisted ending on how to do that. But the other thing, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know if they'll go that route. I do think that they're gonna leave it open though for a movie down the road, like Psych did.
You can write sequel novels. God can decide to write another book.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that I have been talking about since season 5, because it's the one huge thing about Christian philosophy that they haven't brought up yet. They brought angels, demons, God, all of the first demons, all of the Knights of Hell, all of them. They've delved into all of that. The one thing that they haven't brought up yet is the Jesus. They haven't dealt with that yet. They have not.
I don't think they're going to. I really don't.
I think they are. I think this is my fan fiction for this last season, is that Jesus is supposed to come in to this story because they've followed the Lord. They followed all of that from the Bible, and Jesus is the ultimate sacrifice. So, being said that Jesus is the ultimate sacrifice, that's going to be the bargaining chip that they're going to have between them and God.
I could see that, yeah.
Because God has said this is the end already. And because he said this is the end, there's no recompense for them other than Jesus.
Yeah.
According to Christian doctrine, not according to the show. But them being on the hook for defying God and defying the plan that he has for them. That's the only thing that they have going for them at this point. And it's not been introduced in any of the previous seasons. And that is the biggest thing that Christian
I just feel that they'd stay away from it because I just don't think they don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole, and I think
maybe that's true. I can respect them for doing that because that's, like I said, the biggest thing in Christian doctrine, and most people that try to tackle other religions like Islam and Buddhism and all of those. They don't really touch on the big names. They don't touch on Muhammad. They don't touch on Krishna. They don't touch on. So maybe they're not going to, but I'm really hoping they do, because
I had kind of thought that Jack being supposedly if he's going to be resurrected, I kind of thought he was going to take on the Jesus role.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Possible.
We'll find
and
out.
that's possible.
It is
that would be something that absolutely I would be 100% behind.
I would too.
Not only would the whole Christian doctrine of Jesus being able to absolve people of their sins be amazing, but to have it be the son of Satan,
yeah, that would be kind of cool.
flips the role, and that would be just utterly amazing to me. I would love.
I hope they go that route.
Really,
Pete Opolis joins us in the chat room. What up, Pete? The other thing that was brought up in this video that I want to get thoughts on, they said that what they did learn is at the end of the season, they're releasing everything from hell. Everything that was ever put in hell is being brought out, and you will be seeing everything through the seasons of these 14 seasons coming back. So, who do we want to see show back up? And who do we think will for sure show up?
Whoa!
I don't know, man.
Sorry, I'm excited.
They're going a little, I don't know. I don't want too many guest stars, to be honest, because if you start just putting too many guest stars in, it's going to clutter everything up, and you really got to be picky on who you choose to bring back and who you don't. And for the love of God, please, if you are bringing someone back, stop spoiling it with casting rumors. You already spoiled one, just let people be surprised. I haven't been surprised since season 10 when they snuck Chuck back in there at the end of the fan fiction episode.
Yeah.
So I don't mind a few casting rumors or spoilers, but let the audience be surprised.
Two big ones. Okay, we already got one that showed back up this last season, but he showed up in an iteration that didn't know what happened to him, and that was their father.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would love to see the father that has gone through being in hell for all that time show back up. I really want to see the damage that has been put onto him.
Can I say the people that I want to come back, that I have wanted to come back for nearly 10 years now? Jo and her mother, Hartnell.
Mm-hmm.
They died in season 5 in what was one of the most emotional scenes that I have. Sorry.
Well, but they sacrificed themselves. They weren't taken by the hounds.
They did. They killed the hounds that were chasing the Winchester brothers, and that was one of the most heroic things that I've seen done in the entire series. And the only one that came back was Jo during
for like 2 minutes, she came
back for like 2 minutes when he was being interrogated by Osiris or Anubis to weigh his sins in hell.
Yeah.
That was one of the most storied and terribly sad episodes in supernatural history, because she came back.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that I would be extremely excited to see, because both of them were key players during season 5, and then they just got wiped off the map completely.
Yeah.
And I would really love to see the relationship between Dean and Jo and see that come back into full effect, because that would be just amazing to me.
I would like Jo back as long as she's her own separate entity. Please don't bring anyone back just to be a forced romantic relationship.
I get that, but is this the opportunity? I'm going to ask one before, because we got time constraints, so we got to move on to the next story. But one quick one.
I was going to fight her on that.
Hold on. Is this the opportunity? Does it happen? He said he would never come back. He would never do the series. In some way, somehow, that they get him back in some fashion, Crowley.
Oh, God.
And she ran away as I was asking that.
She can go away, because I'll answer for her as best as I can. No, I don't want Crowley back. Crowley had an amazing arc. He had an amazing ending to that arc. For him to go from, because at the beginning he was completely self-serving, just, oh my God, oblivious freaking asshole. And for him to go from that to the self-sacrificing individual that he was at the end of it, it was the perfect turnaround for him. It was the perfect ending for him to get that final FU to Satan at the end of it. And it was beautiful, and it was poetic, and it was just the perfect ending to his story. And to have him come back from that and try and make it better, you can't. You can't do it. It's not going to work. It's just going to be an addition. It's going to be like the frosting on a cake. It's not the best part. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna move on to the next story. Although I do want to bring up that Super, because she can't talk, is chatting away of I agree, no Crowley, no Meg, no Balthasar.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to see any of them come back. All right, let's move on to the next story. The Stand. Stephen King's The Stand is getting a new miniseries on CBS All Access, and we have our first casting for it. We've got Jovan Ade. What's that? Go ahead.
First casting. They have a bunch of casting for
I
it.
know, but the members that have been casted so far.
Okay.
We got Jovan Adepo from The Leftovers as Larry Underwood, Owen Teague from Bloodline as Harold Lauder, Brad William Henke from Orange is the New Black as Tom Cullen, and Daniel Sanjata from Rescue Me as Cobb. The big news is that Alexander Skarsgård is playing Randall Flagg, the Man in Black, so the bad guy. And we've also got James Marsden already as Stu Redman, Amber Heard as Nadine Cross, Odessa Young as Franny Goldsmith, Henry Zaga as Nick Andros, and Whoopi Goldberg as Mother Abigail.
Yes.
So, now hopefully Masonic Vader can get on the conversation as well. Any thoughts on the casting so far that we got?
Sounds great. I mean, I look forward to hearing you guys talk about it since it's on CBS, and I will have that. So I'm a big fan of the book, and it's had many opportunities to go to the screen, and this looks like the first viable solution to actually bringing Stephen King's work of art from words to actual picture. So maybe I'll try to get CBS again to, I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, once again, you already know my thoughts about all these other channels starting to do their own thing. So, yeah, I'm excited for it, but I'm going to have to hear from third-party vendors.
What about you, Aaron? What do you think about the casting?
I love it, to be honest. Alexander Skarsgård is a great casting. Amber Heard, as much fire as she's been under for the last 6 months, she's doing really well, and I like her acting. And God, what is the other?
Why are you holding up a kiss cup?
Is it Whoopi? No, I was yeah. You're just happy to see Whoopi. You're happy Whoopi's on there.
I am happy that Whoopi's on there. To pull her out of retirement, this script must be decent. So. Yeah, I like her.
Get me out of retirement. She just did A Wrinkle of Time a year ago. Give me a break.
And you shut your mouth.
She's not retirement.
Boy,
she's cherry picking at this point.
I will rip that beard out of your face.
This is what I thought was most interesting about this casting of Alexander Skarsgård as the bad guy. We now have the Skarsgård brothers as bad guys for Stephen King films.
We do. We do.
It's true.
And that's amazing. I love it. But honestly,
we need to get their dad to play something in a Stephen King film.
Well, I was about to say technically he was a bad guy for a little bit, but yeah, no, he needs to get in the Stephen King
Mamma
film.
Mia is not counted as being a bad guy in a film, although that movie was.
Okay, so the thing that I'm most excited about for this, James Marsden. I think that he is one of the most underrated actors in this generation, and to give him a role where he can actually, express himself and make sure that his acting chops show through, I think this is going to be great for him.
Well, isn't that every acting job to show his chops? Come on now.
Well, he didn't really have a choice with Cyclops. He didn't really have a choice with, even with his role as Charles Manson. He didn't really have an option to show what he can really do, and I feel like he has a lot of potential. So hopefully, with this role, he'll be able to shine a lot more than he has been in the last few roles that he's had.
You apparently forgot his acting stint in Man of Steel.
Man of Steel was a terrible script too.
Or no, wait, no, I'm sorry, not Man of Steel. Superman Returns. My bad. Man Returns. Wrong Superman.
That was an even worse one. What are we talking about
here? You're forgetting all of his good movies. Come on.
Okay. Yeah, so sounds like excitement for the cast. I like the miniseries. I know it was cheesy, but Molly Ringwald and Lieutenant Dan.
It was cheesy, but it was so fun.
Gary Sinise.
I mean, compared to the ending of It, I actually liked the Stand all the way through. Versus, I love It all the way up until the end on the original miniseries, and until So,
it's rough. Whenever you have a really good book, The Stand, and you're trying to take it from book to some type of platform, television, movie, it's very difficult because, as we always know, they can't put the entire book in a movie because it's going to be like a 5 to 10 hour movie.
Hell,
so you got to be able to cut.
The only other thing that I got to see Parker Lewis Can't Lose in besides the TV show.
It's gonna be difficult. So the casting to start off with is good casting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter. I mean, but we've seen movies that have had good casting and just shat the bed, as far as anything else. So that's where you really have to kind of look at the whole
Suicide Squad, for example.
Suicide Squad had its problems, but I thought there was some redeemable qualities. But it definitely had its problems.
There were some redeemable qualities, but the casting was amazing. Will Smith as Deadshot, perfect. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, perfect. Carol Davini as Enchantress, perfect.
Nope, that was one of the problems.
The writing,
the writing of Enchantress was horrific.
Exactly,
and that's what Ruru 2 brings up. Casting doesn't mean anything if they don't have good writing. Which, yes, we agree on that.
Absolutely.
Speaking of good writing, we don't have any good writing. We do this all by improv, but if you guys want to support us and check us out, you can head over to malice-corp.com. That's where our main website. If you're ever picking up anything from Amazon, head on over there. Click on the link to Amazon, purchase your stuff. We get some credit for it. If you guys like what we're doing here and you're watching on Twitch and you are a Twitch supporter, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It is September, so subscriptions are half off this month, and thank you so much for helping and supporting us so that we can keep this going and get better quality content out for you guys, so I can get maybe better headphones since my headphones broke.
Yes.
What does improv? Do my points mean anything? Your points always mean stuff, Ruru. So, okay, so this is what we usually do when we have too many stories to talk about, and especially when we run over time. It's called the Rapid Fire News. Rapid Fire News story number 1. Game of Thrones has another prequel series that has been greenlit. This series, it got a pilot order, takes place 300 years before the events in Game of Thrones, and it's going to follow the beginning of the end for House Targaryen.
Yes.
Thoughts? Remember, rapid fire, quick. Hey, Aaron.
I think it's going to be good. I haven't read the book, though, the prequel book, the House of Fire and Blood. So I have nothing to compare it to, and I think that's a very good thing in this case.
Nice. Masonic?
It can't be any worse than season 8.
And I think we got Aaron back, so what are your thoughts, Aaron?
I want it now. God damn it. Give it to me.
Along with the other prequel that they were already working on?
Yeah.
So
give it all to me. I love it.
No, it's too much. They're gonna run. They're gonna milk that dang cow so freaking dry. It's unbelievable. It's gonna be shriveled up. It's gonna be worse than a zombie cow.
Oversaturate.
Oh God. That was zombie
Yeah,
cows.
blue milk. Blue milk. That's what it's gonna end up being. Blue milk.
And Luke will look at him. He'll get a character looking at him so lovingly.
Luke Skywalker. Yeah, with that little whatever beast it was. Ha! You know. I mean, come on.
Let me get to the other rapid fire news stories.
Polly upset on that. Ah.
Oh God.
What?
Okay. Rapid fire news story number 2. Science, for the first time, has found water on a planet that is not Earth. That is habitable, meaning that it's not frozen water, it's not dried up. It is actually in the spectrum of what a habitable planet would be in terms of closeness to a star. It is over 100 million light years away, I think. Something like that.
It's like 650 million light years away. Million. They said it twice.
Yeah. So far we can't even send a probe to it. So they said until the new technology comes out in 2020 to see if we can get better visuals of it. But it is twice the size of Earth, and maybe we'll get some thoughts of if there's alien life that's creating some of the vapors in the air. Thoughts?
Kind of nervous. If it's twice the size of Earth, that means there's got to be some kind of unbalance with them. So maybe they're twice the size of us, and they're just a bunch of giants that want to smash us. Like that reasoning, I like that. There. Yes. The drink flows through me in AA run at this point. Yes.
Oh, God.
We're just not going to pull an icy Zorro and go, wait, hold on a sec.
I just did not think we were going to Land of Giants is where you were going to get your thoughts from.
Absolutely. Double size, baby.
Aaron, thoughts?
I love the idea of finding a planet that is habitable and has just the perfect Goldilocks zone of attributes that we need. And to be honest, I'd be the first person to sign up for a probe to this
planet,
to this new planet, and
that's you want to get probe. Yeah.
Ruru 2 Ruru 2 got smart on us. Said more gravity means smaller creatures. It's only going to microscopic life, if any. So you'll be the giant.
I turned my
even creepier.
Turned my brain off
that's
3 hours ago.
I'll be the giant. I'm good with that.
I'm always a giant.
Would it be like a tiny? Would it be like a large planet full of tiny little Ant-Man? Can they all be Paul Rudd? Please, can they all be Paul Rudd?
They never age. None of them.
You know what? The good thing is we found the planet, so in case if this one goes to shite, the human race in 2,000 years will be all right.
Which is exactly what Polyfuse said. Polyfuse says the only way we're getting there is if we send a rocket there with starter DNA. And you can take that any way that you want.
I'm not taking it. Hey, nope. Nope. I could, but I'm just letting it go. This is rapid fire. Pew, 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 pew.
Rapid fire story number 3. Lost continent has been discovered by science. Originally part of the original Pangea that broke off from Africa, Spain, and France, became its own continent, and fragments of it have been found in over 30 other countries, I think, or
30 countries.
But because of new technology, they were able to actually get visualizations of how everything went together. They put this on the same level scale as figuring out the tectonic plates throughout all of the Earth, in terms of the vast technology it took to get this endeavor figured out. Thoughts?
God, just so many thoughts on this. The idea that it is spread over 30 countries is like a Krakatoa type explosion. That's just amazing to me. And to have it be able to be traced back to the concept of Pangea is, God, it's just beautiful. I love it.
I wish I could use that technology to find my old PlayStation.
What was that?
Or I wish I could use that technology for my old PlayStation or even my original Nintendo. Holy crap. Seriously. I mean, it took 10 years to come up with all this stuff just to tell us that, as in Aaron's terms in the pre-show, the Earth popped a zit. That's how
it kind of did. It kind of did. It just.
I could have went the other way, but we're going to keep it at least PG. Popped a zit. And now 30 different countries have pieces of this lost Atlantis continent. It's crazy. We can find this crap out from 22 billion years ago, but we can't figure out where my damn Nintendo is. What the hell?
Super. Do you have any thoughts about the lost continent?
Well, I'm just confused. Like, is it just like sitting there? Is it like doing anything?
They found
like
pieces that help explain, and then by doing visual computer whatever.
Okay, I honestly couldn't get the article to load at work, so I'm kind of going blind a little bit. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, is Europe just like sitting on another piece of land that's like under,
What they've basically been able to do is figure out, like, when there's copper in a certain area that doesn't usually have that, they can figure out that by testing this copper where it originally came from, which was this continent that had broken off, that had been part of the original Pangea. So
that makes a lot more sense.
They figure out everything fits together, but because of the tectonic plates, it basically broke off from everything, became its own continent, and then just shattered to nothing after so long.
Let's dumb it down for some people who, like myself, are kind of like burned at this point. Someone dropped the salsa bowl during the party, right? And no one cleaned it up for 100 years. Then someone showed up one day and said, "What's that splatter on the wall?" Well, I don't know. And then they started doing a CSI, and they put it back together, and they realized that someone dropped the salsa bowl 100 years ago and didn't clean it up.
Yeah. Fair enough. Some key points that have come from these stories. Ruru2 says K218b is very unlike our homeworld. It's more than 8 times the mass of Earth, which means it's either an icy giant like Neptune or a rocky world with a thick hydrogen-rich atmosphere. Polyfuse, in explanation to shooting DNA, said rocket shoots a wad of DNA just after entry. Once again, take that how you want. Ruru2 says 8 times the mass of Earth, and Polyfuse says like the White Cliffs of Dover in terms of the lost continent.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Rapid fire story number 4. On Sony PlayStation, if you own a Sony PlayStation, you have 4 buttons. You have the triangle, you have the square, you have the circle, and you have the X.
No!
Well, Sony came out and said that it is not the X, it is the cross, and gamers are losing their minds. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's the stupidest thing that they've ever come up with. If you want it to be a cross, then put it in a cross position. A cross is a plus sign, people.
It depends on how you hold
like an X.
It depends on how you hold the remote, but...
Okay, well then you could call it the sideways cross, you could call it the tilted over cross. You could, it's a freaking X.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your evidence, I have found my PlayStation 3 controller, and as you can see, that looks like an X. Not a cross, which would be like that.
Yes.
But it's an X. So PlayStation, you could take that and put it in your pipe and smoke it. That's whatever.
I mean, I'm going to be super ornery now, and I'm going to call it, the inverted plus sign.
Hey, Ron, any thoughts?
I'm going to say this with all the conviction that I have.
Sure it comes.
I don't care.
Yes.
But
if people want to think of it as a cross, that's fine.
But if you need the code of how to get past something and they don't put it in symbols, they just write it out and it says triangle, square, circle, cross, triangle. You're going to be like, "Where's the cross?"
They will understand, and so will I.
It's going to be like up, down, down. It's like, wait, which one's up and down? What the hell?
Ruru2 says it's an X for extreme. And yeah, but all those other buttons are shapes, not
God damn it,
letters.
Ruru, stop it.
And he says, yeah, but all those other buttons are shapes, not letters. And Polyfuse says, really, it's gotten to the point in our society we're offended over a game controller.
It's not
It's a non-binary controller. All right, there's no X's or O's or anything. It's just a button at this point. All right.
Here's the thing: we're not. Gamers are losing their minds, but we're not upset about this. This was going to be our Somebody's Got to Talk About It, where it's the weird, odd stories that somebody's got to talk about. But it got bumped because something else came up that was much greater. And now it's time for our Somebody's Got to Talk About It.
We need to talk!
You talking to me?
Oh my God! Who told you?
Have you told anyone else about this?
What you talking about?
Look who's talking.
Which I would like to call it the WTF this weekend because seriously.
Seriously.
All right.
WTF.
Okay, so KFC. KFC is so great with their advertising and the commercials of getting different people to play the Colonel. Heck, I just saw a commercial on Thursday during football where it's got Sean Astin in it, and it is essentially Rudy 2. They call it Rudy 2, and he becomes the Colonel in it. So,
I thought he got ate by dogs in Stranger Things. What the hell, man? This is confusing. The fat hobbit was supposed to die in Stranger Things. Why is he still alive as the Colonel?
Well, one of the things that's very popular on Steam and on mobile apps is dating simulators, where you like go out on a date with somebody and you do the actions of what to do to try and woo the person or whatever. KFC has a dating simulation game coming out on Steam where you get to date the Colonel.
know.
It comes out in October. It's not out yet, so we haven't been able to play it.
In this society.
What? Go ahead.
Is this what we come to? I mean, I hang out with a lot of females, and I've never once heard them go, "Ooh, that Colonel, gotta get me some of that." Like, what is this nonsense?
I love that the Colonel that they have in the pictures for it is a thin Colonel. They couldn't even give you like the old style chubby Colonel.
I know.
Yeah, the dad body Colonel. Come on. And then how does it work? Do you instead of swiping, do you pick spicy chicken or regular crispy chicken? I mean, what's going on?
I don't know, but then like, how does he simultaneously look very, very young and super old at the same time?
Rurutu says this is marketing genius, which I agree. I agree, because people are going to be checking out, especially here on Twitch, how many people are going to be streaming the dating simulator of the Colonel. Like, I think this channel might do it the day it comes out. I might get it on Steam and just stream it here.
Now, you know you've already seen the jokes about finger licking good and everything, correct?
That was my concern when I saw dating simulator.
I've seen so many of them.
I hope no one gets choked in this scenario. And that, you know, that someone does find true love on Popcorn Island or something, or whatever it's getting called. Branded Express Racing Sim. Your favorite fast food video game. Hashtag. There you go.
Here we go. Let me get to this.
Castle Tower Defense.
Okay. USA Today had it. Here's the picture. So it's a smooth looking Colonel Sanders, and it's in an anime style.
Hey, baby.
And yeah, the only thing we got anything for a fellow chef is what it says. KFC's apparently cooking up the world's first Colonel Sanders dating simulator. So
that almost looks borderline NC-17, buddy. I don't know if we should have this on the show. He's got those glasses and that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you want to come see my spicy chicken?
Rurutu says, quick, yeah, objection, too sexy is what he said. So, man, we need games for everything. Yeah, you had the Panda Express Racing Sim, but he also put White Castle Tower Defense. So,
which almost had me die. I almost died on live podcast. I was laughing too. I had to use that for a minute. That was phenomenal.
All right. So the last question amongst this, somebody's got to talk about it for KFC Dating Simulator. Will you play it? No. Really?
No.
I have other things I can waste my freaking phone time on. I mean, I'll download freaky Pokemon the Go and start doing that before I do KFC. Oh, I want to date the Colonel crap, you know?
Okay, I gotta believe the only other one that's with me that'll end up checking this out just for the heck of it will be Aaron. You gonna play it, Aaron?
You're goddamn right.
I punch your man card on that one, sir. Punch it.
I
No,
will
it's
check it
probably gonna
out.
be hilarious.
I will.
It probably is going to be hilarious. But man, I don't waste my time with regular online dating. Why am I going to play a fake online dating?
I don't care what you do, sister.
You know what? Polyfuse brings up is Gary Oldman playing the Colonel in the movie of the dating game, and if that happens, then you know Jack will be playing it because he loves Gary Oldman. So our producer Jack
That would
Malice.
actually be hilarious. Yeah,
So,
that would be hilarious.
I got
I would
very
probably watch
worried.
that movie.
I got very worried when we were in that Supernatural talk that we would never make this cast on time. That it ended up being like a 2-hour long cast, but we did it.
It
We
might
got
have
through
been if
everything.
I hadn't gotten a phone call.
We got through everything. So that is
Yeah.
tonight's show. We will be back next Friday. If you guys are checking us out on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, please drop a review and let us know what you think of the show. Thank you for sticking around. I know it's been a bit of time since casts have been popping up here. So, yeah, keep listening and they will keep coming. If you're watching on Twitch, thank you guys for being here every single week for us. You do make this funner and you do help the content of the show
Funner, huh?
immensely.
Funner.
Funner. More fun. Sorry.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
There you go.
I mean, our brain does hurt from all the edumacation, but seriously, funner. Swipe right. Spicy chicken.
All right. Let's talk about where you can follow everybody to talk about the Colonel outside of this podcast. Aaron, where can people follow you?
People can follow me at DOS Newport Kid on both Twitter and Instagram, and on both Xbox Live and PlayStation Network at DOS Newport Kid.
Just make sure when you're typing in, you're pushing the cross button, not the X button, because then you won't enter it.
There's no cross button nor X button. It is all one word. So don't listen to this guy.
Well, no, you hit the button to enter when you're typing and everything. Then that's your enter button. So
don't confuse these guys. Don't do that.
Masonic Vader, where can people follow you?
Apparently down the KFC is so we can download the app and play this game together. What? Really? I mean, I think I just got those in. I find it inconspicuous that they're throwing this in right at the time of the great chicken sandwich wars between Popeyes and Chick-fil-A. They're just getting themselves back in there.
It took a while for them to develop this game, and they just didn't throw it together in 2 days.
They decided to throw it out. I guarantee this was still 2 months away, and they saw what was going on. It's like, hey, we need to get our hands in the hat there, apparently. Masonic Vader 71 on the PlayStation Network. Excuse me. Yeah, Masonic Vader on the PlayStation Network, Masonic Vader 71 on Twitter, and any other craziness you can find us at malice-corp.com. Yeah.
What about you, Super? Where can people follow you?
Follow me on Twitter at Super Ruby and Nut, and then you can follow me on Instagram at Super Ruby and Freak. And yeah, lots to talk about. I'm getting back on Twitter. I took a little break because I was exhausted, but there's a lot of good stuff coming out now, and lots of fun activities to be a part of. So come join the fun.
The KFC game. That's right. Super Hoovian spicy chicken. Yeah.
I think right now on Instagram it's the adventures of cat sitting, and the fun wacky hijinks the cats are getting up to, because good Lord, those cats are crazy. Swear to God.
Okay, and moving on. If you want to follow this podcast on Instagram at All Nerd Podcast, on Facebook at All Things Nerd Podcast, that's MaliceCast Live, All Things Nerd Podcast. It's in the groups, and it is the original All Things Nerd, so thank you guys for continuing to be here. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at @mest_Malice Corp or on Instagram at Mest5150, and you can follow my further adventures on YouTube at Geek Guidepost is the name of the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. You guys keep nerding on, and we will see you next Friday.
Spicy
out.
swipe right or crunchy swipe left.